In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to use Stoicism as a personal philosophy to not care what other people think about you. Now, so many people go through lives concerned, afraid of what others might say, might judge, might think about what someone's doing. And the fact is that a lot of us succumb to this. We stop short of our goals and dreams just because we're afraid of what our friends are going to say, the people that we grow up with are going to say. And we live in a shell of what we could be because we're so afraid of what others think about us. And here's two quick facts about that. One, nobody's thinking about you that much because everybody's so wrapped up in their own problems. Two, if someone else is thinking about you that much, it's probably because you're doing something right, because they're seeing what you're doing in real time and they have envy over the progress and the things that you're doing. So, how does Stoicism play into this not caring what other people think means? And this isn't some sort of, don't care what other people think because that's weak or any of that. It's because you have a moral obligation, and this is throughout the Stoicism philosophy, you have a moral obligation to be virtuous, to uphold the values that you believe are right and just and make sense for the world that we live in. You have a moral obligation to take care of the people that you love. You have a moral obligation to have a life of purpose and meaning. And so part of it isn't so much stop caring what others thinks, as much as it is start living your life. And as a byproduct of focusing so much on the life that you need to start living to become who you're supposed to be, you'll, as a byproduct, stop caring what other people think because you realize what you're trying to do. You realize the impact that you want to have. And so in Stoicism, they believe that virtue, again, is the highest good, right? A virtuous life is what all people should strive for, like a life that is conducive and follows your values. Now, Stoicism believes in four cardinal values: wisdom, temperance, in other words, moderation, justice, and courage. And then within those, you can kind of break those up, right? So in courage, it's the confidence to do what you believe is right? The confidence to stand up, the courage to do what's right in those moments that are hard. And in that, you also have endurance, right? When people are challenging your values, when they're coming against you, when you're being attacked, when you're being criticized, can you have the endurance to keep going forward? And there's also a charisma aspect to it. Can you go through life with a smile on your face? Can you be able to kind of have this banter and almost this be a political adversary when things aren't going your way or where you have to battle to fight for your values? Can you, almost in a Socrates way, question the other person without attacking their character? Can you use, this kind of banter, this skillfulness, and this tactfulness to engage with other people? With wisdom, you have kind of the subcategories of being resourceful, being quick-witted, right? Can you think on your feet? Resourceful, can you be useful to others in the sense of you provide value? And you also have the ability to learn new things. You are curious by nature. Justice is about honesty, telling the truth. It's about fair dealings, right? You honor your word. And it's also about integrity, right? Doing the right thing. It's a huge value of the justice component. With moderation, it's about, again, the balance of things. Can you kind of have modesty? Can you have self-moderation to where, again, you understand your limits, you understand the balance of things? And so what these cardinal virtues of Stoicism basically impart to us is, can you live a rich life of integrity, of learning, of being useful, and of doing the right thing? And so what does that actually mean for you? Well, the best part about values is that they're objective enough that all of us understand what they are, but they also have the subjective element of they mean different things to different people. And to me, courage is the most fundamental value of the Stoics. Because to do anything else, to have the ability to do fair dealings, to have the ability to be fair and just, you have to have the courage to do what is necessary, to do what is right, to do what is required of the situation. And I think that when you look at how other people view you, the opinions that others hold of you, you have the courage to say, hey, you can feel whatever you want to feel about me. I really have bigger fish to fry. I have a bigger priority. I have my life to focus on. And so, if you're listening to this and you're in your 20s or you're in your 30s and you maybe don't have a family yet, or maybe you're starting to build your family, think about what that's going to look like in 20 years. Think about your spouse. Think about your kids. Think about in 40 years, 50 years, when you're looking at grandkids. You have this entire map of a legacy that you're going to build. And you need to start taking advantage of right now because life happens in seasons. Your life as a single person in their 20s looks different than a person who's dating going into their 30s, looks different than a person that's married going into their mid 30s, different than a person that, that's getting kids in their mid 30s, right? Because in those different seasons, you have different priorities, you have different agendas, you have different responsibilities. And so if you don't take advantage of the situation now, you can't really game out the game that it's the way it's supposed to be gamed out. And that is, take full advantage of the life you're in right now. Don't bemoan the fact that you're not in the relationship you want to have, or you don't have the kids that you want to be a parent to. That will come if you start building it, right? What are the things that will get you ready for that moment? That's what I think about. What are the things that are going to get me ready for when I'm ready to have kids, right? What are the aspects and the attributes as a father that I can build today? What are the aspects as a husband that I can build today, right? And so there's these elements that I'm thinking about now because I understand just how important they're going to be when I think about my future and where I'm going. And again, because of the magnitude of the dreams and ambitions that we personally hold as a byproduct, when other people are like, hey, I don't like this about you, I don't like that about you, it really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Because in a month, you might not even know them. In a couple of years, you're definitely not going to think about them. And if there's someone that's still in your life, you say either A, get rid of them, right? If they're not family, they should not be in your life if they continue to drag you down. Or B, if they're family, you just say, hey, look, I understand we're family, but respectfully, every time we engage, you're being this way. You directly confront the problems, because that's such a better way of living, right? Conflict can be very difficult for some people. And, some people, including myself, thankfully, don't mind conflict, and we can go through conflict and, sometimes even enjoy it. But the point is, whether you like it or not, it becomes necessary at some point. At some point, there has to be direct interventions where you say, hey, I am trying to live a better life. I'm trying to live a life more conducive to what I believe is right for me. I can't have this. I won't have this. And you have to build that backbone to really say, I am going to go down a different path. I am not going to continue down this path of something that's negatively affecting me. You have to protect yourself. You have to protect your interests. You have to protect your values. There's this moral obligation that's underlying with Stoicism that's so great here. And so, kind of rounding out this episode, I want to talk strongly about some of the greatest sayings that I have picked up from some of the Stoic philosophers. So, we're going to start with our dear friend Marcus Aurelius. One of Marcus Aurelius' quotes when it comes to the act of wrongdoing is, the best way of avenging thyself is not to become like the wrongdoer. And his intention, again, is the best revenge is to not be like the person that harmed you, because to start plotting like them, to start planning like them, is to start to become them. And you kind of have to build that difference between you and the person that's wronged you, and to showing, hey, I stand by these values, and regardless of what happens, I will continue to do so. And he says after this, take pleasure in one thing and rest in it, in passing from one social act to another social act, thinking of God. And so this talks about things being an end into themselves. And so basically you enjoy things as they are for the purpose that they exist. And this allows a little bit of gratitude and peace in the present as you're building towards the things that you're building to. And while I'm looking for the other quote that I wanted to mention, I did want to bring something up from Seneca. And this one is one of my favorite quotes of the Stoics because I think it highlights the importance of purpose. And that is, a sailor who does not know which port he is sailing to, there is no wind that is favorable to him. And his meaning is, if you're on a sailboat, you're in the middle of the ocean, and you're trying to go somewhere. If you have wind with a sailboat, it's going to push it in that direction. But if you have no idea where you're going, right? If you're in the middle of an ocean and you don't know if you're going to go north, west, east, south, no wind is favorable to you, because no matter what wind you get, you're still going to be lost, right? But if you start in America and you're trying to go over to Europe, you know you have to go east. You know that having an east wind is going to help you on your journey. So when you have a destination, when you have a goal in mind, when you understand what you're trying to do with your life. And the last quote that I want to read today from Marcus Aurelius is really about this idea of just letting things go with other people. And he says, when a man has done thee any wrong, immediately consider with what opinion about good or evil he has done wrong. For when thou hast seen this, thou wilt pity them, and will neither wonder nor be angry. For either thou thinkest the same to be good that he does, or a thing of another same kind. It is his duty to pardon him. But if thou does not think such things to be good or evil, that will more readily be well disposed to him who is in error. And so this thinks about the fundamental ideas of bad and good and evil. And it really just takes a picture of a lot of times people just make mistakes. It's not that they're fundamentally bad people. They just make mistakes and you realize it's just a mistake and you treat it as such. And so part of this is also the magnitude of starting to become a bigger man. And that idea is, can you start to grasp concepts that are bigger than just you? Realizing that people are just people and they're gonna have missteps, and it's your job to treat them as such and not make things bigger than they are. And what happens is you kind of ground situations to just, you don't think about them as much, because when you don't make such a big deal out of it, you don't think about it as much and you don't spend as much resources on it. And instead of, thinking the next couple of days about one situation that had no reason to affect you so largely, you instead just let it go and let it be and just carry on with your life. Don't forget to subscribe down below, like, and comment as well. But until next time, keep optimizing your human experience.